and I got to see this game on national television, so that was fun too. So we'll get to that in a little bit, but let's stay with the football here and get to the big story. Of course, is going to be the Seahawks. They dominate, they rule, and it is just they got another win this week out there in Pittsburgh after flying cross country. As if I remember correctly, you and the Guru said they wouldn't. I'm pretty sure I picked them. But,
You're right. And in the preseason predictor, Guru had them loosened, so we got to bite our tongue on that.
Yeah, gotta have faith, boys. So I'll tell you what, let's get the Guru on the line and see what he has to say about it this week. We gotta talk some questions about this game and look ahead to New Orleans. What do you say?
All right.
Guru, are you there, my man?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Victory Tuesday, baby. Victory Tuesday.
There he is. You can find the Guru with me every week on Trash Talk Radio, anywhere you can find podcasts. And you can find the Guru every day on Instagram at Guru's Film Room. Guru's Film Room is just his thoughts. It's great to have you back on the show, buddy. How you doing?
Man, I am living the dream. Don't you pinch me, fellas. Don't you pinch me. I'm excited, man. I'm like Russell Wilson right now. I'm like Pete Carroll, baby. It's my birthday, baby. It's all of our birthday right now, man.
So now, Guru, I just before we called you, I was just saying I'm the only one that picked this win here. I think you guys had him going the other way. What do you have to say for yourself?
Well, that always helps if Big Ben is out. If I know Big Ben was going to go out in the second quarter, heck yeah, I would have picked the Seahawks my damn self. And then I would have lost that damn money, man. So I hear you, Lestro, unless you had a birdie you didn't want to tell us about.
Nah, man, I was just keeping the faith, Guru, keeping the faith, and hating on Pittsburgh the entire time. So, my red-hot hate kept me warm at night. So this big win for the Seahawks this week out there in Steelerdom in Pittsburgh. But I got to tell you, man, I had some questions about this, and I'm just going to start right at the beginning. My biggest concern in this game was that Russ got sacked 3 times in the first quarter and 4 times in the first half. And Guru, didn't we fix this summer? Wasn't that the plan?
We did fix it last year, but you also got to realize, like I hinted last week, just the style of play we have with Russell Wilson. What makes him special is him making special plays, which takes a long period of time. He extended plays, so which means he's going to be in a higher level of getting sacked more because of his skill set. So, like I mentioned, I'm not too worried about that. You said there was 4 sacks in the first half, correct?
I think so, yeah.
Exactly. That means there was 0 sack in the second half.
Well, that's
that
true.
That means we did adjust it. And that's what I look at. I'm not too worried about Russell getting sacked as much because a lot of them also have to do with Russell and what he brings. Because 9 out of 10 times those great Russells play, if Russell didn't make those plays, it would have been a sack. So we got to live with it.
Yeah, Russell Wilson, great day. In Russ, we trust. Thank God we got him back there throwing. He went 29 for 35 for 300 yards and 3 TDs. Another great day from Russell Wilson. But I don't know, man. It didn't seem to me like he was scrambling, and that was why he was getting hit a lot back there. There were a couple of those in that first that he really collapsed, but definitely.
Yeah, I saw a couple of them. I know Jermaine Ifedi is really the biggest culprit we have on the offensive line. He's our weakest link, our right tackle. Jermaine Ifedi giving up 2 sacks a game, giving up holding calls. So definitely, I don't think it's necessary the entire offensive line because I think Posey do play well, and I think Dwayne Brown plays well. I just think Jermaine Ifedi is easily the weakest link in our offensive line.
Yeah, it seems like the other teams know that too, and we gotta work on that, or at least do a better job of disguising it.
Is there a worry about the penalties we committed? We had 7 penalties in the first half alone. Ifedi had 3 alone.
Exactly.
What do we do about that?
Total for the game though was 10 and 93 yards. So 7 in the first half. Again, tightened it up.
And I'm not too worried about that. As you all know, in Pete Carroll's type of team, we always have penalty. This is always a common trait, fellas. is even with this Sherman. Remember when Michael Benton was here? Michael Benton seems to get like 4 penalties a game. So as long as those guys are playing aggressively and there's no boneheaded penalties, more like Jermaine Feedy's penalty, the rest of them, I think it's more of the hustle and play, and I think Pete could live with those. But we all can't live with the holding calls and put us in a bad situation. And I don't want to just put the man out there, but I do have to put it out there. It's the 2 weeks in a row, and he's been the glare weakness in our whole offense.
All right, so one more negative thing that I saw here, because I was just thinking you can tell we're East Coast guys, because this is a win, and here we are talking about what went wrong. But one more is 3 fumbles in 2 games by Chris Carson so far. I know that the first 2 games are basically preseason games, but this can't go on, right?
Absolutely. And you know what? It's a great sign to see that our boy Penny actually stepped up and had a really, really good game last week. Because we don't need to see this with Carson. This is one thing Pete will not allow on his team is fumbles. If Carson now, I'm a little bit weary. I am a little bit concerned because I know it's in his head right now. It's all mental. Fumbling is a mental aspect of things because this is not a Chris Carson thing. He don't have a history of being a fumbler. So right now, it's in his head, so which means he's going to try to protect the ball a little bit more, which means he's not going to run as hard because his main focus is going to make sure he don't protect the ball. So let me take that back. Not run as hard, but won't be able to get that extra yard that he's accustomed to because right now, mentally, he has to get that fumble out of his mind or else Penny would be the running back. If he keeps performing the way he's performing, don't be surprised if Penny gets more touches as the season goes on.
Yeah, how about Penny last week? He had 62 yards on 10 carries, had a touchdown. He had a nice long run. He was huge last week.
Yeah,
and also I hope
one of the high points.
I hope you guys saw this, the little birdie I told you guys about. CJ Prosize being more like a slug guy. So we saw a signing of CJ Prosize this past Sunday with 3 receptions over there. So I look for him to be more involved in that passing game as well.
Well, yeah, he had three receptions and 2 carries as well as they spread it around a little bit. All right, so that is one of the high points here. Let's talk about the things that went right in this game. After all, this was a win. Pulled out a 28-26 victory on the road on the East Coast on Sunday in Week 2 against the Steelers. So let's talk about what went right. I got to tell you, Will Dissly introduced himself to everybody this week with a hell of a game. 5 catches, 50 yards, 2 touchdowns for the tight end out of UW. Great game from this kid.
Absolutely love Will. The Guru had him starting for his fantasy this week, man. I bench Kyle Rudolph, man. Forget you, my cousin. But anyway, I have to put that out there. My man Will Dissly helped me out. And I kind of expected that. But the reason why I expected that, I thought that Pittsburgh was going to jump on us if Big Ben would have played. So I know Russ, he has a good relationship connection with Dissly. So we look for that to be a sign of more to come as the season progressed. As you all know, we had Luke Wilson here a few years ago. Russ is very good with his safety valves as far as the tight end. And Will Dissly, he could block. He has great hands. He could run good routes. And I'm telling you, he's going to be a very, very good tight end in the future. And I just see this as just a sign of foreshadowing of how our season is going to be with Will Dissly.
Hey, speaking of things to come, the other one this week was DK Metcalf getting his first touchdown as a Seahawk, first touchdown as a pro. He went three catches for 61 yards with a touchdown this week. Love seeing this. This is another foreshadowing, we hope, of things to come, right?
Absolutely, and this is all about the off season, man. I was watching Russ and DK Metcalf this whole off season, man. They have a connection. They were working out together this off season, and you could see that. This is not just training camp. You know, you could see they put in time and put in work. That's how you see it's a great assimilation as far as the regular season timing because they're on cue right now, DK and Russ. And like I said, that's just kudos to Russ. He even said when I was listening to him on the Colin Cowherd morning show today, he mentioned that him and DK did work out. They worked at our UCLA together, and he texted DK when he got drafted, hey, it's time to go to work. So I'm not surprised, and I'm excited. What I'm really excited about is the Seahawks are using DK at his strength. DK is not like a special route runner. What he's good at, he's a big body receiver, and they're utilizing his speed and his big body. And Russell Wilson obviously throw one of the best deep ball in football.
All right, so before we move on to talk about the game this weekend against the Saints, is there anything else we got to talk about here?
Yes.
I got to give credit to the defense real quick before we move on, because I mean they only gave up 261 yards, although we gave up 26 points. It was like the two touchdowns they gave up in the second half were off terrible turnovers that we had. So just got to give it up to them, man. Like Jadeveon Clowney, he said a great thing after the game, being like, Russ just gives us that ability to believe, and that's kind of why he came to Seattle. And I don't know, it's just good seeing that defense kind of come together. Even though they gave up 26 points, they held them to 3-11 on third down. So just some solid performance out of them.
Absolutely. The defense is coming along. There's still some glaring holes. Trey Flowers stepped up from game 1 to game 2. I noticed that. They still something. They're not there yet. KJ Wright had a hell of a game, and so did Michael Kendrick. He had a good game too. The whole linebacking core. So yeah, they have a good game. They had a solid game. Obviously, they're still missing that aggressive defense that was known to have here in Seattle. They were still missing that. So as the season progresses, they will gel and they will play faster as they all just unite together. So it is a nice showcase they did, especially on the road.
Nice aggressive defense. I'm sure they could use a lockdown corner that's out there. I'm going to ask you about that before we.
Don't tell me that. I've been keeping about that. But before that, I want to give one kudos because last week you brought this up. You thought Tyler Lockett having 1 catches, that could have been a concern. And I let you guys know I'm not worried about Russ and Tyler. Tyler had 10 receptions for 79 yards. So you see Tyler is our number 1 receiver. Just want to put it out there, Lestro. No concern with T. Lockett.
Not at all. Russ found him this week. Those two guys hooked up on what Lockett was supposed to do, and on those. Nice to see that as well. All right, let's move on to the week ahead. Week 3 here at home, welcoming the New Orleans Saints. The Seahawks get what is essentially their second game against a backup in a row, as the 1-1 Saints are coming into town without Drew Brees. Not only that, but they get Ziggy Ansah back in this game, as well as Poona Ford. This should be a gimme, right, Guru?
Never a gimme, never a gimme. Teddy Bridgewater is a very competent quarterback. And if you don't remember, the last time Teddy Bridgewater started an NFL game was the playoff versus the Seahawks, which Blair Walsh missed that gimme field goal, which could have been a victory for the Vikings. We all remember that, right?
Absolutely. We use that sound all the time on TTR.
Exactly. So let's not underestimate. Teddy Bridgewater is a solid quarterback. But obviously, I think the Seahawks in a very, very good situation to be at home going against Teddy Bridgewater and not having Drew Brees at hand. So I think it is a good situation for the Seahawks. And with Ziggy coming back, they should put some pressure, and this should be a victory. But I do think Sean Payton is a formidable coach, so I don't expect a 27-9 loss like New Orleans did last week to the Rams. I expect a good competitive battle. But I do see the Seahawks pulling this out, being our home game.
How do you see Kamara running this one? I got him on my fantasy team.
Kamara is a bad matchup for anyone in the league. Obviously, Bobby Wagner and KJ Wright are going to do everything they can. But that's a tall task to have, man. AK-41 is one of the best at what he does in the league. So I think AK-41 will get his, but hopefully it will be through garbage time when we're already up by enough points.
Hey, speaking of fantasy, I got to ask, do I put DK Metcalf in over Mike Thomas? Because, he doesn't have Drew Brees throwing him anymore.
And that's a good situation. Actually, I would like to put Mike Thomas this game because I do think they're going to force feed him. And our weakest link is our corners now. Let's just be understandable. It's not the D-line because we got Clowney and Jerome Reed is going to come back in a few weeks. It's not the linebacker core. We already know that. Our weakest link is the receiver, the secondary, the corner, even though Flowers played better in week 2, but Mike Thomas is an elite receiver, and Mike is going to get his. He's a volume receiver, and I don't see the Seahawks having the capability of slowing him down. So I do see 8 to 12 catches for Mike T for about 120 yards.
Well, Guru, I am glad that you brought up that the cornerback is one of the weakest positions on the team right now, because that leads us right into the final discussion point. The name on everybody's lips right now out there is Jalen Ramsey, who has requested a trade from the Jacksonville Jaguars. He got into it this week with his coach and says there's nothing for him on this team anymore. He's got to get out of town. What do you think? Is it possible that we can get him up here on the Seahawks as well, as the amazing offseason of John Schneider could possibly continue?
Dude, I put this up there in my Instagram early this morning as far as my top landing spot for Jalen Ramsey. Jalen Ramsey fits perfectly with the Seahawks. The Seahawks are one of my teams that of the four that I think is a perfect fit. Obviously, he's a similar scheme he played with in Jacksonville earlier before they moved to more of the zone concept. He will fit perfectly. It's an easy assimilation for him mid-season because it's basically the same exact defense. But with him being here, it's going to be more of the man coverage aspect of it, what he's used to doing. So this is a great fit for him. But also, the other teams I think will also vie for his need is, most importantly, I think the Kansas City Chiefs need him gratefully because of New England's arsenal. I don't care what the Chiefs have to do. I know they don't have a first-round pick next year, but the fact is they need someone to hold down AB or Josh Gordon if the Chiefs think they're going to go to the Super Bowl. And in the NFC, other than the Seahawks, I think the Eagles, your team, Lestro, are a number one corner away from being a solidified Super Bowl contender. And Jalen Ramsey, even though the Eagles play more zone, and I think that's why I put them third on this list, they play more zone than Jalen Ramsey want to play, but I think the Eagles should reach out to Jalen Ramsey.
I'll tell you what, you said what they're asking for him, you said Kansas City doesn't have any firsts. That's what they're asking, is the rumor. The Jags want at least a first-round pick, plus more for Jalen Ramsey. I think that's perfect for the Seahawks because, shit, John Schneider doesn't use his first-round picks anyway. He trades down into the second and third round for what he wants to do. So it makes perfect sense to me is to get him up here. And he can go to Philly as well. I'm happy with that. But I think the Seahawks are a great fit for him.
Yeah, the Seahawks, of all the fits, they're the most perfect fit for him. And like you mentioned, also the Seahawks really don't care about their first-round draft pick. And he fits it perfectly because it's the same defensive scheme. It's the same thing he's used to. So it's just going to be so much easier as far as that adjustment for Jalen Ramsey. And after that, he will be playing for a perennial Super Bowl contender for the rest of his career. So I see John Schneider pulling something out of his hat. I really do see Jalen Ramsey being in Seattle.
I'd love that because I'll tell you what, the NFC West is off to a smoking start. 3 2-0 teams with Goff. Jimmy G had a big game this week, looking like he could be the real deal. Of course, we know Russ is the real deal here in Seattle. Jury's still out on Kyler Murray and the Cards, but for now they are still the Cardinals at 0-1-1. We could use a lockdown corner up here in Seattle to take on just the division that we're in, let alone the rest of the conference and Tom Brady over there in the AFC.
Best division in football right here, NFC West. Best division in football by far, hands down.
All right, that is the Guru. Thanks again for joining us here on the Wash, Guru. You can find the Guru every week with me on Trash Talk Radio, everywhere you can find podcasts. And you can find the Guru every day on Instagram at Guru's Film Room. That's Guru's Film Room on Instagram. And he'll be back again next week to talk more Seahawks with us. Guru, man, thanks for joining us on the Wash.
Appreciate it, y'all fellas. Y'all have a good evening.
Thanks, Guru.